Complaining has no value. And if you complain about not having enough money, work more. If you complain about not having work-life balance, spend more time on vacationing in your family. I think the people that I attract are hungry, are workaholics, are massively ambitious. I am not interested in judging people's hustle. I'm interested in telling people how I've accomplished what I've accomplished, which is, I don't think I'm that talented. I do think I've outworked people. I think that's real. I also think it's controllable. And I think anybody who's watching right now, they may not be the most talented entrepreneur or salesman or an amazing craft of content, but if they outwork somebody, that is a variable that feels in control. Somebody wants to start a YouTube show, if they do it 365 days a year versus somebody that does it 137 days a year, and they're equally as talented, the person that does it 365 is gonna win. I mean, that's just the truth. And it's the only practical advice that I think I can give. Go get more talent. I can't say that. But, work harder and go to less happy hours and don't watch entire seasons of House of Cards, that feels real. And so if you complain about what you want professionally, well, there's a way to fix it. If you're content and you make 55,000 euros a year and you have all of August off and you're part of the dart team and you spend tons of time with your kids and you're content and you do not complain, well, then you're a hero to me. Got it? It's about who complains.
Yeah.
You can have anything. Not everybody's meant to make $1 million. Not everybody should want that. I have friends that make tens of millions of dollars because I come from Silicon Valley culture who complain about not spending time with their kids, and I yell at them in the reverse way and say, you're full of crap. You have unlimited resources. Don't cry to me. You're trying to pander and position yourself as a good guy. Go spend time with the kids. I truly think that if you complain, it's literally the second you start the sentence is a step back in a non-winning way. And that's really what I'm focused on. I'm very worried that I've not done a good job in my hyperbole style of communication and my very Twitter-centric quotes and my interview style of giving good, people want to interview me because I'm a good quote. And on stage I lose my mind and black out and go. These are the opportunities where I get to clarify, and I'm so appreciative of it when I know I'm sitting with somebody who knows how to interview and it gives me some opportunity to go deep. It's just that. I don't care what you want. You could have anything you want. I don't want to be the entrepreneur's entrepreneur. Hustle is the only way. I'm not looking to impose my lifestyle on anybody. It's just important for people to understand that complaining has no value. And if you complain about not having enough money, work more. If you complain about not having work-life balance, spend more time on vacationing in your family. It's super simple. Let your actions dictate instead of sitting there and feeling like you're not in control. I'm writing a book right now. I have 3 or 4 books that I'm writing in my head, that's how I write them, called I Wish Everybody Was an Immigrant. It's a huge advantage. You're hungry. You get to appreciate it. Now you're an immigrant in the UK from the US, different in some ways because the US is such a great, opportunity place, but boy, still different. You get to see the UK London market for what all its value is versus what you had. It's amazing when you go to a different place, very often you went there for a reason, thus you're looking for the opportunity. Most people come from places that don't have as many opportunities and they can't even begin. I mean, I have not talked to an immigrant that doesn't have some level of disdain and or disrespect for every American they know. Because they just know. They see it for what it is, which is, holy crap, there is 87% of the rest of the world where you'd never have this chance. My mom and dad had absolutely no, no tolerance for complaining. They suffocated it. I'm visceral to complaining. And I think it comes from my parents. I mean, American parents today treating their 23-year-olds like they're a kid, just the polar opposite of what I grew up with. I struggled with that transition because I was really making money and I was really my own boss and I think I was a wonder kid in hindsight now. I'm a really talented entrepreneur. Now as I've built my second big business with really no knowledge of the advertising world, one of the fastest growing businesses in that space of all time. And I look like a guru, right? I hyperbolize, I spiel, I've got bullshit energy, you know, like I'm a little toned down now, but you give me more, this is more, I like, you know, this is where I can probably have this is a good thing for me. This is a little bit less energy, I'm a little more zoned in. I'm up for the challenge of a good interview, but you put me on stage on a panel where I'm starving for attention because that's just who I am. And I've got, you know, 4 minutes out of a 30-minute time. What am I gonna say? I'm gonna say stuff that's gonna grab people's attention so that it's a gateway drug for them to dig deep. But when I'm gonna sit there and say, you know, TV is dead and you guys all suck and like the world is, like people, what are they gonna react to, right? And again, I'm also charismatic, which is an inch away from a cousin of being full of shit, right? And so like when you have all that, yeah, the reason I say that is what bothers me is when a normal person in a normal setting who's not in a crowd who's getting my spiel, but we're having drink, who are trying to figure out if I'm full of crap, I'm like, don't you remember the narrative? I built a $60 million e-commerce bricks and mortar wine retail business in the late 90s when nobody did that. And the reason I built VaynerMedia on Madison Avenue in the face of the history of advertising was to remind everybody, probably most myself, because after Wine Library and Wine Library TV, I did start being an author. I did start speaking. I did start acting like a pundit and like a commentator and a personality. And even though I invested in all those great companies during that time and could have easily put myself as one of the great venture capital like behavior guys, which is a career in itself, I didn't view passive investing as a true worthwhile business expedition. And so I went and built an agency, a black and white business, right in the mouth of all of the people that don't think I'm a real businessman, because I love competition and I feed off of people not believing. I went big because I'm capable of it. You know, I'm an HR-driven CEO. You know, the closer you get into my epicenter, the more I'm liked by the people that are closer to the center of the sun, right? So that's, you know, that's always, by the way, that is always what gets me through the YouTube comments of this guy's full of crap, because they hurt. I equally care what everybody thinks while not giving a crap what anybody thinks. It's this very interesting kind of push-pull thing. What keeps me most grounded is in 13 years, on our 7th interaction, you're gonna like me more than you like me right now, which only proves the reverse of all the things that aren't good in life. You know how many people are loved by all these people behind the camera right now that I know are full of crap, and sure enough, after 5 and 7 and 9 years, they don't win? But I'm the reverse. You know, I come out the gate hard. So 80% like it, actually. Good ratio, it's the only way I've been able to survive, but there's absolutely people viscerally that respond the other way of like, oh, what's this guy, you know, work 18 hours a day. How many comments do you think when that's the only quote in my Facebook feed say, this guy's broken, he's gonna wake up one day and not know his kids, and they don't know me. They don't know like my 7 weeks vacation. They don't know my weekends are actually with my kids for real. They don't know that 90% of parents get home at 5 p.m. but then don't really interact. They don't know that it's depth, not width. You could be with somebody for 90 hours. They could be 90 not hardcore, emotional, loved, nourishing in hours. Or you could be somebody for an hour and it's all in, it's forever, right? So, you know, when you put yourself out there and you're doing it as well, you have to be prepared for that feedback. It's the cost of entry. It doesn't not mean that you don't take it to heart and things of that nature. And so, yeah, I live, what I'm able to get through is those 650 people, they know who I am. Or actually only 150 people in that 650 people firm right now really know who I am. And that's what gives me the energy, because it reminds you like, right, you know, the closer people know, the better. And so I live in results. Like the people that know me, it's good. The businesses I built, they're real. I have fundamentally felt a shift in the last 2 years of the level of respect from anybody who's interviewing me to anybody who runs into me. Like this business meant something. It's like, wait a minute, this is his second rodeo. You know, in 5 years he built a $3 to $60 million wine business. Now in 5 years he built a $3 to $100 million advertising agency. Okay, this guy's a businessman. And so that's been fun for me because I'm gonna do that a bunch more times. And so at 55 when I sit with you, you know, now there's gonna be no debate. We're gonna be on to different conversations. I know that I'm gonna buy the New York Jets and that's gonna cost me $10 billion. I know. I may not be able to pull it off because the owner has to die. I have to be financially ready. There are a million things that I can't control, but to amass the wealth to do it, I'm gonna do it. Taking a private plane to a business meeting, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, I run an international company. Like, I'm so humbled and blown away that I run an international company. I used to always only engage with negative comments to win them over. And I realized, wait a minute, I'm pandering to the bottom. And I've started commenting and engaging with people that give me love way more. And it's been a very healthy shift for me. Why did I sit in a booth for 20 hours and read my audiobook? Because there's a lot of people who learn that way. So when you have the ego or the wants and needs to educate the world, to be heard, you don't get to pick I don't have the audacity to pick my form. I try to do it in any form that I think people will consume it in. And so books are important. I'm very concerned about Twitter because it's my heart.
Yeah.
Because it's probably singly most responsible for what I'm doing sitting with you right now. It was the platform that I won on. It's like being an actor. It's like Harrison Ford and the way he feels about Star Wars. He has to love it more. It was the role that changed his career.